Alright, what's up guys? Brian here, and this is my WWE Monday Night Raw key points review of uh, some quick points from last night's episode of Raw. Of course, Raw emanated from the UK, just like SmackDown will be tonight. So let's get right into these a little bit of review. First off, one of the big things coming out of last night's last night's Raw, heading into Survivor Series, is that we found out the three remaining members who are going to be the three men that will be joining Kurt Angle and Braun Strowman on Team Raw. Two of them are going to be Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. That announcement was made after a match between Samoa Joe and Finn Balor ended in a no contest. They started fighting outside the ring. Kurt Angle came out, said, "You know what? You two are going to be on Team Raw for Survivor Series." So they were announced as the two of the three remaining superstars that are going to be a part of Team Raw. The other one, and I thought that this was a bit of a surprise, but not really, was Jason Jordan. So Jason Jordan will be a part of Team Raw for Survivor Series. I know that there was a lot of stuff online about that Team Raw was going to consist of Kurt Angle, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, and Roman Reigns. And I'll get into what I think is probably going to happen as far as Roman Reigns is concerned in his role for Survivor Series, and just when I discuss the main event. We found out another member of Team Raw's women's team for Survivor Series. Of course, Team Raw's women's team is going to take on Team SmackDown women that will consist of Becky Lynch, the team captain, Charlotte Flair, Carmella, Miss Money in the Bank, Tamina, and Naomi. And of course, last week we found out, or 2 weeks ago we found out, Alicia Fox would be the team captain for Team Raw. Her first pick was Nia Jax. Her second pick, and this one I don't know how they're going to play this out one, but her second choice to be on Team Raw was Asuka. She announced Asuka to be a part of Team Raw for Survivor Series. Alicia Fox also announced she wants Sasha Banks on her team. So that is 4 out of the 5 members for Team Raw. Of course, Bayley, who teamed with Sasha last night to take on Alicia and Nia Jax. How is she going to fit into Survivor Series? She wasn't chosen by Alicia Fox last night. So, who's going to be the 5th team member? My thoughts on Asuka joining the team was, how are they going to play off as far as, Asuka is concerned in this match? They could go about it having maybe her get disqualified or counted out. That way she doesn't get, she's not pinned. She still remains undefeated. Or do they have her being one of the sole survivors of the team? We'll have to wait and see and how WWE handles that situation. But moving on, we saw Braun Strowman versus Miz in a non-title match. This one ended with Kane getting involved, Miz and the Miztourage, and Kane beating up on Strowman, but Strowman wound up fighting him off. So obviously they're having this feud with Kane and Strowman heading into whatever down the road. What else? We saw the debut of the United Kingdom champion, Pete Dunn. He defeated Cruiserweight champion Enzo Amore last night on Raw in a big debut for him. He's probably going to be a part of the Raw roster. maybe going further. Another bit of news coming out today, as well as far as call-ups, is that there's a lot of talk about Hideo Itami being brought up to be a part of the 205 Live Cruiserweight division. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but he's supposed to be getting the call-up for 205 Live. So, it is what it is. Let's see what else. Speaking of Survivor and mentioning Survivor Series, we saw the Raw Tag Team Championships on the line last night in the main event, and this is where I'm going to discuss about Roman Reigns in a second. It was Sheamus and Cesaro with one last chance against Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose for the championships. Of course, as it stood, it was going to be Rollins and Ambrose, the Raw Tag Team Champions, taking on the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. As it stands, the Usos. This was actually a pretty good match between Rollins, Ambrose, Cesaro, and Sheamus. A lot of action in this one. Near the end of the match, however, is when things really started breaking down. Dean Ambrose hit Sheamus with dirty deeds. Rollins would then get up on the top rope and hit a frog splash on Sheamus. Would go for the pin. Cesaro, who was knocked out of the ring, would get back in the ring and knock Ambrose down to where he broke up the pin. Then, as all four men were getting back up to their feet, interestingly enough, SmackDown Live's New Day, their music would start playing. You would hear the boisterous voice of Big E. Music would hit. They would be in the crowd at the top of the stairs, on one of the sections of the WWE Universe. They would start talking, asking fans if they're enjoying this 3-hour episode of the B Show, Raw. Basically, they would start running down what SmackDown did 2 weeks ago, where they came in and invaded and all that stuff. Then you would see a backstage Kurt Angle trying to gather up a whole bunch of superstars to come out to the arena. They would come out to the arena, surround the ring, basically acting like SmackDown's going to attack again. But nothing happened. But meanwhile, while all this was happening, Sheamus would hit Rollins with a Brogue Kick, pin Rollins, and that would be it, as we have new Raw Tag Team Champions in Sheamus and Cesaro. So a big congratulations go out to them for becoming, I believe, the third time Raw Tag Team Champions. So now they're heading into Survivor Series to represent Raw as the Raw Tag Team Champions. Who are they going to be facing? We'll find out tonight on SmackDown, as the Usos defend the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships against Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. As far as that whole New Day costing Rollins and Ambrose the Tag Team Championships, I basically see a Shield versus New Day match at Survivor Series happening. Rollins and Ambrose could be like, you know what, New Day wants to talk about how they're there's such a great three-man trio that there's only one. I could see them setting up a match between these two teams, New Day versus Shield for Survivor Series, and I think that's probably what's going to happen. That's how Reigns is going to be involved for Survivor Series if he is able to. So he's supposed to be at Raw next week, so obviously, that could be where they set it up. So, I could see that happening. But overall, my thoughts on last night's Raw, there were a couple, like I said, the Rollins, Ambrose, Sheamus, and Cesaro match I thought was pretty good. I thought that, the whole setup with New Day coming out and making Kurt Angle and everybody think that it's going to be that SmackDown was going to invade again. I thought that was pretty good to see, pretty cool to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens tonight on SmackDown and how if Raw will retaliate. I don't see why they wouldn't. So, but overall, my thoughts on last night's episode of Raw, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, there were a couple of good matches. It was cool to see Pete Dunn make his Raw debut. Like I said, the tag title match I thought was pretty good. There was some other stuff that happened on Raw that I'm not going to get into. But if you guys watched last night's episode of Raw, let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments below. And do you guys think that they're going to do a Shield versus New Day match at Survivor Series? And what do you guys think is going to happen at Survivor Series? So, my thoughts on Raw, I thought it was a pretty good show. Hopefully, I can't wait to see what happens tonight on SmackDown. So, with that being said, this has been my my Raw quick review of some of the things that took place on last night's Raw. Not a full review, but a semi-review of last night's episode. So, with that being said, I am Brian, and thank you for watching.